Okay, sweeties. Sorry about the audio quality. It's pretty atrocious. Um, so I'm going to go on with Susanna Bordry. At 11:25, she said, "Hi, I disagree on many levels. First, I agree that is equivalent to Black Americans passing in white society, um, but that is an argument that I think has to be discussed between people of color. Being white, I don't think it is legitimate for me to argue about it." Yeah, that's kind of this college campus politically correct um, idea. It has to do with hierarchy of victimization, that only victims get to talk about their victimization. And again, I'm not saying that African Americans are not victimized. That's the furthest thing from what I'm saying. But this idea of, it's this kind of white guilt thing, or, that, I can't have an opinion about this because that's not my lived experience. You kind of excuse yourself from seeing or whatever. We all have lived experience. And I think it's actually very, very, very close to the passing point. But see, this is the key disagreement that I think is going to come out here. It comes up second. The reason is second because stealth for women born transsexual is in reality for most not an opposite scale to being out and open about your history. That's kind of convoluted, but what I think she's saying, what other people say is, well, as a woman born transsexual, I'm really a woman. So by being stealth, I'm actually being out. It's almost saying it's more accurate to say that I am a woman than to say that I am a trans woman, right? And that's and this is going to be a sticky one for Monica, because this is one where, we're really running into the core, one of the core political points that divides people who are criticizing passing and criticizing stealth, and people that want to go stealth and passing, is that the stealth people, really, really, really strongly claim that there is no difference whatsoever between them and, so between them and people who are somatically born female, in this case, or MTFs. And that's a huge controversy. Personally, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. It's based on this strange medical model that transsexuality is a birth defect that you've fixed, whereas the new biology is showing, that we really exist, gender variant people, and that I think, that they were gender variant male, somatically male, and biologically brain sex female. So I'm not denying their authenticity, but the authenticity is more of a third and a fourth sex. That's not a popular thing to say, but this is what this is really about. Is this wing, the stealth wing, the passing wing of the trans movement, they're in complete and utter denial about the influence of a history. You can say they're women of male history. You can say, okay, they're not male anymore, but they were, and it does add a difference. And that's where it's saying, be clear, be out. We are different. We are different. Don't deny it anymore. Okay. That's going to be very controversial. But it's where Monica's post is going to. I don't think that Monica can really step around it either. Is that you're, it's not stealth if there really is absolutely no difference between a trans woman and a somatic female. If you think that this history, being born as somatically male, has a lot of influence on us, which I think is undeniable, really, if we're stepping outside of politically correct thinking. Okay, let's see if I can get these last few in. Jay in Chicago again. He's just really being sanctimonious here. I disagree on many levels. First, I disagree that it is equivalent of black Americans passing in white society. But that is an argument that oh shit, so this is double up. Jay in Chicago, to have the argument splayed out here for cis people who are, as far as I can tell, can't understand this issue not being trans, so, again, I hate to hark back on that cissexual thing, but, he's defined me, that I am being defined as cis, because I am no electrolysis trans, and because I'm fine saying I'm male. I'm female too, but I'm definitely fine saying I'm male. So he's saying I can't understand the issue, and so shouldn't be splaying this out in front of me. Again, I think it's really this victim feminism. We can't have these discussions where the oppressor are. It was a central problem of early feminism, radical feminism, is this total withdrawal from the academic world into your own, just getting parochial. And that's what he's saying. We need to not be having this. And their comments, as if this space hasn't been transmisogynist, is okay. It's played out for cis people and their comments. So cis people shouldn't even be commenting on this. Again, it's like, what are you afraid of? It's this victimmythology. As if this space hasn't been transmisogynist. I haven't read all this stuff, so maybe there were nasty things going on, and maybe not. But it's not happening now. Any back and forth among trans people just plays out for cis people's prurient interests and makes us all comic relief for cissexism. So I just find that a terrible, terrible argument. Basically it's Animal Farm to me. And you made this ontological, essential, this distinction between trans and cis, which, again, since I fall on the cis side of things, it's not a real difference. It is a perceived difference. You're socially constructing a difference and then saying all those people on the other side of the social construction don't get to have a voice in this conversation anymore. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to have to stop here and come back.